Welcome to my sewing room. I'm Pearl Pereira. Today I have a tip for you on how to transfer your embroidery to your block without marking your block. First thing you need to do is get your light box and place your pattern on your light box. Turn your light box on. Take a piece of freezer paper, place it on top of your pattern, and now I'm going to take an essential for every sewing room, a piece of blue tape, and place this directly on top of my shiny side of my freezer paper. Now I'll take my pen and I'll draw the shape where I want to contain my embroidery. Once I go all the way around here, then I'll need to cut this out. Once you've done this, you have a shape, but we need to cut out our window. So to cut out the window, I'll take my Fiskar knife, a June Taylor cutting mat, and I like the hard one because the knife does not embed into it. It rolls smoothly across the surface. And once you've done this, you're going to come along now and you can cut your shape following the lines that you've traced. Nice thing about the small mat is that I can swivel the mat and it helps me follow the contours. Once I go all the way around my shape, I can take out my unit, and now I have my opening. You can see that I've done my embroidery French knots on, this is the basket from Bountiful Baskets. This block is the Kentucky block, and I needed to contain my French knots. So once I have my window all ready, I can just peel off my blue tape carefully. You don't want to rip it, you want it to maintain its shape. And now I can place this on top of my block where I need to do my embroidery. Then I was able to do all my French knots and have them have the shape that I actually wanted. The nice thing about the blue tape is you can move it and you can do a second one. I have a couple of other examples of how I use this technique. I used it on the saguaro cactus to do the center of the saguaro cactus. I've also used this on the American almond blocks, and on this block I was doing the palm fronds. Now I just traced my design for my pattern, and this time I put little hash marks around here so that I know where each of my little fronds was supposed to end up. And also to ensure that I was getting straight lines, every time I did a line, I placed another piece of blue tape and I embroidered right next to it so that I had nice straight lines. You can also see that I've done the same technique here on the Connecticut block, where I wanted to have all of my grape clusters to be exactly the same. The nice thing about the blue tape is that I can move it and put it in position. If you do this with freezer paper, your freezer paper will tend to pop off, but the blue tape will stay on until you're done with your stitching. I've got one more little tip here for you, and it's how to satin stitch and get a perfect circle. Now I know the size of my bird's eye and I have a hole punch. I have freezer paper with a piece of blue tape on here, and I'm going to punch out the size of the eye. I'll take my blue tape and now I can position it directly where it needs to go, and I would do my satin stitch. This way I know I have even edge all the way around my stitching, and once I'm done I'd be able to pull this up and I'd have a perfect circle satin stitch. I hope you've enjoyed this tip. Look for more tips on p3designs.com.